broadcast is now on the air.
I did evolve another Drowsy earlier and he's at level 697.
Oh, nice.
What? I evolved my Drowsy before, and the Hypno was only like 400 and something.
My Drowsy was already 360 or something.
Is there a benefit
okay.
in evolve? Like, when should you best evolve? Or...
I'm going with evolve them when their level up would cost you over 1,000 and more than one Poke Candy.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing pretty much.
Like my Machoke, I've got a Machoke, he's level 560, but to upgrade him, it would cost 2 Poke Candies and
13.
Yeah, 1,300 Stardust, and I'm just thinking, nah, I'll just wait to evolve him.
That's what my Flareon is, 778. Although he's dead now because somebody's knocked him off his tower. Poor bastard.
Yes, my Machoke's been knocked off his, bless him.
Reviving.
Anyway, that's enough of Pokemon.
Right, I want me to host.
Yeah, whatever, man. It's better you if I'm going off.
Cool, no worries. Alright, everyone ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 40 of the Out of Nowhere podcast. As always, I'm Oliver James and with me we have Michael Allen.
Good evening, sir.
We have Chelsea Edgerton.
Hey.
And we have Star-Lord himself.
Hello.
How are we all doing today besides being addicted to Pokemon Go, it seems?
Well, to be honest, Ollie, we thought you'd died. Every week we started the podcast off with like a cry for help for you.
We missed a trick with Where's Ollie book, to be fair. I've just thought of that. We've definitely missed a trick.
Oh, that could have been a definite a picture that we could have edited up together.
Sadly, work commitments took me out of commission for about a month, it seems, or feels like, at least anyway.
I don't know. We literally only heard from you for 1 day in a month. An entire month. It was 1 day.
Well,
And that was just sorry. I've been quiet. Not right. No explanation.
Yeah, work a little too much, so resting kind of see. But I'm back. Work commitments pushed aside. All well and good. Just in time for the WWE draft, which is next week. Which I think we're all kind of eagerly anticipating now. After the past couple of weeks episodes of.
Praise the Lord.
I thought it was yesterday. So there you go.
That's how excited you were for it.
Well, I'd literally said to Chelsea that I'm gonna stay up because it's SmackDown. She was like, "What is it? A good SmackDown?" I'm like, "It's live." And she was like, "Nope, not this week."
Well, besides you, Mike, jumping the gun, let's actually get into WWE Raw this week. And I guess the big kind of news story that we were all kind of anticipating regarding the draft was they were going to announce who the owners of SmackDown and Raw were going to be. And whilst we did get that, we also really didn't get that. We have commissioners, but we don't know who the general managers are. So those who don't know, Shane is getting SmackDown, Stephanie's getting Raw, and they've both got general managers. So Chelsea, let's start with you. Did you want the extra layer of a general manager and a commissioner? Is it too overcomplicated? Is it too much McMahon? What are your thoughts on like essentially having two people in charge of both shows again?
I never actually thought that that's the way it was going to go. I just thought that one person would get one person would get the other. I'm not sure really. I mean, the rumours going around for SmackDown have me very excited. But as for, I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, are we going to see Shane and Steph every week? Are we going to have we're going to have now two separate authority storylines overshadowing everything else? But it depends who it is. I mean, if we get the SmackDown rumours of like Daniel Bryan being a general manager, I am all over that. But we'll have to see what happens, I think. It's still very much a waiting game just to see where it goes before I can make a judgment on it.
And you raise an interesting point. Is it that we're not going to see Shane and Steph each week and we're going to have the general managers at every episode? Or is it as you say, going to be two different authority figures arguing with each other. Mike, did this take you like? Were you happy with this decision? I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was not what I expected, and I suppose that's what I like in my storyline for wrestling, is that I just something that I didn't expect. I totally expected that one of these would just be the general manager, and one of them would be getting laid off in one respect or another, or that SmackDown would be getting named someone else, and then we would have a Stephanie versus Shane, an actual Stephanie versus Shane off, rather than whatever this has been. I mean, Vince said it himself, didn't he? They weren't cutthroat. There were no one slicing each other's throats, which I thought was massively non-PG for a PG show. I want you to slice each other's throat. All right, chill out. But I mean, it's certainly interesting. I mean,
it'd have had a dilemma if Steph just then immediately sliced Shane's throat. Just went, there you go then.
Is that bluntly enough for you? Yeah. Yeah, that would have been causing a little bit of issue. But I mean, if this opens the door up for my Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman ran shows, then I'm all for it. You know, this just gets me one step closer.
I think we kind of go on to it then. As some rumours have suggested, it's going to be Daniel Bryan on a SmackDown and Raw. There were some people arguing it was going to be Eric Bischoff, as you said. Paul Heyman's a name. Who do people want as the two general managers then for each show? Who do you want on SmackDown under the Shane, and who do you want on Raw with Stephanie? Steve, let's go with you first.
Well, I haven't particularly thought of it because I was blown, but I was kind of very surprised by what we got. I was kind of just like Michael said, I expected one of these not to be, not to be involved, and I was kind of expecting Shane to go, and then with Steph having one and then a surprise person doing it. So I'm kind of unsure. That hearing the Daniel Bryan stuff, I could go with that for SmackDown. It would make sense with what Shane wants to bring, to SmackDown, the new era, and so to speak, and somebody completely new. I've been racking my brains about who Steph would have, and I'm just totally not sure. Trips being mentioned a couple of times, and Chelsea said that and stuff, but I just can't see how they would have Tripp working underneath Steph. Like, I just don't see how that would work. Unless they're going to go down a story of having those two other things, I mean, like, is Tripp going to be? It would just seem to would Tripp undermine Steph at each opportunity, or would Steph not like how Tripp is doing stuff as general manager? I don't know. I can't really see that happening.
You could make some good storylines out of that. They run it just as the Authority, which would be boring to have the Authority back, but they'd run it as the Authority. But every now and then, when it gets a bit stale, you could have that Triple H wants to do one thing, and Steph turns around and says, "No, yeah. I'm the boss."
I wouldn't be against the idea of it being Tripp and Daniel Bryan. I would certainly rather have Triple H being the general manager than bringing back Vicky Guerrero or Teddy Long, or I'm not saying that they're in the line, but
what about like Big Johnny?
No, not Big Johnny neither. I'd like to see. Yeah, I would be more than happy with Triple H taking the Raw general manager spot. I just don't know. I think the crowd would have a field day with Triple H each week if he was working underneath Steph.
And I guess if it is the Triple H one, they could always do the potential Triple H face turn against Steph, and he brings in NXT to invade Raw, and they do that angle, which I think everyone's fancy booked one way or the other. Chelsea, before you seem to wanted to jump in at the start there, so who have you got for SmackDown and Raw general manager?
It's no different to Steve, really. I mean, I'd be all in on Daniel Bryan taking the SmackDown position, and I'd like to see Triple H come back as Raw. And I think the storyline that we've had between Daniel Bryan and Triple H in the past, I think that would fit really nicely as well. And like I said, there's endless opportunities for Triple H and Steph too. So I think that's a good way, but I don't know, I kind of like a surprise as well. I mean, Daniel Bryan was probably meant to be a surprise, but
I do not want Daniel Bryan as the GM.
What's your reasoning for not wanting Daniel Bryan then?
Well, He's just too much of a fan favorite to be a GM. Like, what's he going to do? Just give a fan service every night? Next, he'll be having an idea that they have votes on the WWE app to.
Isn't that what
to
Shane's
have
doing
that?
though? Just basically
And
giving the fans what they want.
And wouldn't it be refreshing to have a face general manager after how many years of the authority we had? Like, I imagine if it is Daniel Bryan, like with Daniel, I think the one thing hang up with Daniel Bryan for me is I'm fairly certain he wanted to retire so he could start a family. So I don't know how he's going to do that whilst being on the road with SmackDown. But, so I know maybe they could alternate it with Shane one week, Daniel Bryan the next, yada 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 yada. But yeah, I'd be excited for me. It'd be good to see, and if we kind of get a less on SmackDown, it's less general manager, commissioner involvement, as it were.
He's too busy with his CWC.
I mean, for now, I would be more than happy to see Daniel Bryan in the commentary position that he's currently seeming to do. From the little bit from the CWC preview that was on last week after NXT, I thought it was really good on that. And I would prefer to see him carry on that role because he seems to definitely have the persona to do the commentary side of things. But if he does do that, then I'm not entirely sure. I don't know who we're going to get as the SmackDown GM.
Ole, who do you want?
Are we talking a fantasy ideal scenario, or are we?
Just who do you want? Who do you want? Not who do you think?
Who do I think?
Not who do you think? Who do you want?
Who do I think? I think there is too much in the Daniel Bryan room at this point for it not to be Daniel Bryan over on SmackDown. On Raw, Triple H would probably be a favourite.
I would absolutely love Bischoff.
It's going to be something different. It's not going to be Triple H and Daniel Bryan.
I could almost see fucking Kane taking it. Although one person I saw suggested on the internet that Demon Kane takes Raw and Roman Kane takes SmackDown.
Heyman always seems to work well with Steph.
I think Heyman's too happy with his just coming on and announcing.
Just doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I think Heyman wants the.
Can't blame him, can you? He's getting it. He's not doing too bad out of it.
Exactly. But let's move away from commissioners and general managers to the WWE's blatant attempt at what TNA did the other week with the final deletion in the Wyatt versus the New Day at the compound in the Chelsea. I'm going to go to you for this one. We all know our thoughts upon final deletion. What was your thoughts on WWE's take upon that?
Well, I haven't actually seen Jeff Hardy versus Matt Hardy yet. I keep going to. I keep not seeing it. But I don't. The whole Wyatt thing was. I mean, the cinematography and the way it looked and everything was incredible. It looked so good. But I don't. It very much did seem like they're just trying to compete with what TNA did. But with what I've heard about the final deletion, I imagine it. I say better very loosely, but I don't know. It was good. It just didn't really. It didn't really grab me. I mean, it was very much just a very nicely put together video package, I think, rather than.
I think what the WWE have got with, or what they tried to do maybe with Wyatt versus the New Day, is they've seen how popular the final deletion was, which to this day I don't think ever has been quite done in a wrestling ring before. And also they've seen just how popular Lucha Underground has become, which has got essentially the madness of what we saw with the final deletion with TNA, but with a more slicker production budget, and production values behind it. I think the WWE tried to take it that route, but they kind of missed what made TNA's version so popular. is the Shanky Sharknado of it all, where
Yeah, it very much did just seem that they jumped on a bandwagon just to see what they could do with it, and obviously it did fit really well because obviously with the storyline that's going on with the Whites and the New Day, I just think I don't know. I think it was to me it was definitely something that they thought, okay, they've done this, let's do something similar and try and better them.
I think the White family are if they're going to do more of this and realise that there is a market out there for this different take on wrestling, not the sports side of it that everyone kind of people seem to want, or even it's leaning heavily in the entertainment, verging into the very niche. What Lucha Underground and Shikara, I guess, another promotion they're kind of really doing. So they understand there's a niche there for people who want to see that side of wrestling and that side of entertainment. And the White's the perfect vehicle to go with. I just don't know how that's going to fit with the rest of the roster.
Was this nothing more than a piss take? Let's be honest.
I'd be interested in seeing it more from the Wyatt family. I think that we saw the vignettes when they first started were very of the ilk.
I took it as a piss take. I saw it as nothing else. I don't even think it didn't really even fit in with what they've been doing the last couple of weeks, to be honest. Or I don't know whether that's if they've just all this stuff with Xavier Woods is just basically to have set that up, and it just very much felt like it was just taking the piss basically out of the Hardy thing.
Halfway through, I did think that they killed Xavier though. When he dropped him off his shoulders.
Yeah.
I thought it killed him. I thought, oh, that's a weird way to get him off the programming. But
yeah, okay. And then it looked like they were going to hang them, didn't they? At the end?
Yeah.
It kind of started getting weird because it was just white masks with like three poor black guys just on the knees, and the whole thing just got like it was just complete. I found nothing in it at all. Like I just found I might have enjoyed it more if I'd not have seen the Hardy thing. But because I'd already seen that, I kind of thought, I immediately thought it was
fireworks.
Yeah, I immediately thought it was a piss take, and I don't know whether it was or not, but that's what came across because obviously we'd seen something similar to that already this week, basically.
I don't know if you're suspecting that the Xavier Woods thing has been building up to this, then they've been thinking about it for a few weeks, which is worrying.
Yeah.
I want this to be reactionary and a complete piss take, but I get a feeling it's not.
I think the Xavier Woods thing has been thought up about for the past couple of weeks. I just think, the compound is very much a reaction to last week's buzz and WWE doing their own take on it with more production value. Whether that be good or bad, or is almost removing something from how good last week was on TNA. Which is a weird sentence to say for the first time in a long time.
Did they do good numbers?
Yeah, I think they drew nearly 500,000.
What?
In terms of like the buzz it got for. Yeah, I think. Yeah, TNA, which usually gets about 200,000 viewers, got over 400,000 viewers, so they doubled their ratings with one Hardy segment.
Just goes to show how fickle and idiotic some wrestling fans are. That's what I want to see. All right. That's what YouTube's for. If you want to see it, watch it on YouTube. Don't watch it on the live show.
Yeah, if they can capture it and run with it, then by all means go for TNA. It's about time they did something different from the WWE light approach they had been doing. So, be interesting, I guess, moving. But let's move on from the Wyatts and the New Day to what I was really thought the big surprise of the night is that Darren Young and Zack Ryder are the number one contenders to the Intercontinental and US title, respectively.
Woo, woo, woo.
If you had said a month ago that Darren Young and Zack Ryder would be challenging for titles, I would have laughed myself. But here we are. Steve, are you excited for these new contenders to the titles?
Yeah, I can't wait for Darren Young. Remember when we saw the first one and we all took the piss?
Yeah.
said it was shite. I take all of it back. I love it. I love the vignettes. I love Bob Backlund. He's brought back all memories of like crawling on all fours around the ring. I think it's I think they've been fantastic. Well, when we're talking about all those like the comedy parts that don't seem to get right sometimes. I think this is just one of them where it just absolutely just has just been fantastic and has worked. And yeah, I can't wait. I loved that he won. I can't wait for him to have a title shot.
Do you think he's going to win it?
I don't know. That might be a bit too far.
He's going to win it.
But I can't. Yeah, I'd be a bit gutted for the Miz if he lost it to Darren Young, because I've also grown quite fond of the Miz as a champion. I think the Miz falls into the same category as Kevin Owens, where he's just so much better with a title, doesn't it? He's that much more cockier, and
let's be honest, he means nothing without one.
Exactly, and I think he really suits that real heel title holder really well, and I think I'd be a bit disappointed if he lost it to a comedy sort of a more comedic act. But like I say, the vignettes with Darren Young and Bob Backlund have worked for me, and so I'd be more than happy to see him win it, I think.
Chelsea, what are your thoughts on Darren Young's rise to the top so dramatically and flukishly in the Battle Royal?
Well, to be honest, I've been behind him since the get-go because he was my fantasy wrestling pick, and all I'm gonna say is that it's finally gonna come good. I've had like no points from him for God knows how long, but now he's been on Raw. He's got a title match. He's gonna win that title match. Darren Young's gonna win me the fantasy league, and
it's a shame we're redrafting next week.
He's my first pick. He's the first.
First round draft pick, Darren Young.
Yeah, but no, I'd like Steve. Like the first time I watched it, I thought it was ridiculous, but seeing Bob like on ringside, it was so good. But I don't know, just good on him, I guess. But I don't know, I wouldn't like to see him take the title off the Miz, because I completely agree with what Steve says again. Just Miz with the title is infinitely better than him without one.
And Steve, are you excited for the new prospect of Darren Young? It's good, I think, that they're actually doing something with these guys they've had around for 5 years now, where they seem to be hooked up and bringing in new talent. They're just actually realising, oh shit, we've got people actually just waiting around doing fuck all. So does seeing it live in person, Darren Young and Bob Backlund, excite you?
Who, me? You're asking me?
I mean, Mike, sorry.
I don't care about Bob Backlund and Darren Young. Let's talk about the real story.
Oh, go on.
My boy Zack Ryder. He's going to win me the fantasy league because he's going to beat. No, he's not. He's not going to win. He's not going to beat Rusev, unfortunately. But I like how they gave him a clean victory over Sheamus. They've changed his music. This must
certainly
mean
seem to be giving him a push, don't they?
I was going to say this must mean more than a one night over WrestleMania thing, right?
Definitely, and I think I'm more than happy to see that with. I'm more than happy to see that with Zack Ryder as well, because if anything, for the work that he puts in with Mojo Rawley, I think he deserves a push on the main roster. Because to have to work with him every day on NXT must be excruciating for him.
You make it sound like it's community service for the poor guy.
Is it not?
What did he do wrong?
I don't know. Anyway.
I tell you what, if Zack Ryder comes up and he becomes a mainstay in this title picture, and we all of a sudden we get Titus O'Neil going down to Mojo Rawley, we know that is legit community service work.
Zack Ryder's earned it, hasn't he? I do genuinely be. I'm pleased for Zack Ryder if it is a proper push. I think that he's not one of those like where I immediately turn to like how you do, Mick, or particularly have a keenness on him doing well. But I think he's earned the right to have a proper push, another proper push, because he'd done nothing wrong in the first place to even get relegated to where he was, and I think he's had to prove himself through NXT. And joking aside, tag him with Mojo Rawley down there and building his character back up. And yeah, you can't fault that, can you? I think he definitely deserves the shot, even if it's going to probably result in a loss, sadly.
I don't think he'll ever surpass his true Long Island story YouTube videos. The comedy that he came out with on that was absolute gold. Him and Dolph Ziggler, man, that was so much fun.
Well, speaking about things that were better in the past, I believe it was a year ago today of this recording that we had 3 certain NXT starlets make their debut: Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch. And a year later, Chelsea, where do you think we really are in this women's revolution?
It got better, and then it went back downhill again. I don't know. I mean, the past couple of weeks, seeing Sasha back the past couple of weeks has definitely made me a bit more interested, but they're going back down the same route of just not giving them enough time, not really. I mean, has Charlotte even been about the past couple of weeks?
She's been about. She's not wrestled.
She's just there, isn't she?
Yeah.
I thought they gave Banks and Dana Brooke quite a long time on Raw this week, actually.
Yeah,
I mean,
over 10 minutes in total.
They went for a break, didn't they?
Yeah, they went over a break, so at least they got it was long enough for that.
But I mean, even if they do have a good long match this week, I mean, ever since WrestleMania, it has kind of backtracked a bit. And hopefully, it all depends going forward what they do with the women for the draft, because if they have them all on one show, they're going to get enough time. If they split them up, who's going to be where, sort of thing. It really is just, these past couple of weeks have been very dud weeks for me. And with the women as well, we have no idea what's going on with them, and I don't think that they can progress any further until next week. So hopefully, whatever they do with them, they start climbing back up again, and they get the 2 storylines going at a time, and they do start getting those matches back. I just think since WrestleMania, it's what they built up, they've kind of lost.
On a 3-hour Raw, and with a roster cut in half, you'd think there'd be more time for them if the women were all still on Raw, if they were show dedicated. You'd think that there'd be more time for them, and you could get two segments for the women a week. But whether that actually pans out or not is an entirely different story. Would you be interested if maybe it was just a network exclusive, but if they had their own women's promotion?
It'd be if you included the girls from NXT, yes.
Well, sure, they'd have to pad out a roster, of course, but I mean, whereas like the CWC is launching this week, NXT is on the network, and this NXT is a staple in our regular watching, and I'm positive, I speak for all of us, that the CWC is likely something that will be regular viewing as well until it's over. Would you go out of your way to watch a women's show on the network?
I definitely give it my time, and done well, then it'd definitely be something that I'd watch on a regular basis.
If it goes down the NXT, the way the NXT route, the way that's been, the way that's been done, I'd be more than happy to see it. If it had an hour itself, each week on the network, I'm not sure the head office would want to do that. I'm not sure if it's something that would ever get put forward, but I would certainly like to see it.
Past. Like we've heard when the network first started, we heard rumours that there could be a women's show,
That's Total Divas, Ollie.
Other than Total Divas. And I think what they've done with the network, with the Dusty Rhodes Classic, with the Cruiserweight Classic, that I think there's potential now more than ever for us to get a women's, even if it's just a women's tournament or a women's kind of series on the network. I think it's possible. And if you say what NXT gives us 4 matches a week, with the talent you've got between NXT and the main roster, and maybe calling back a few of the previous stars they've let go, you have enough talent for a women's show, I'd say. You know, a main title, a tag team title, maybe a secondary title for the, you know, the ones on the low down the card.
I mean, there's plenty of women wrestlers out there in NXT and at Shimmer. I mean, just watch Shimmer. I'm sure a lot of talent in there could be transferred over. It was just a thought whether or not it would even be interesting to us wrestling fans to go out of our way to watch a women's promotion. The women had probably
proven it though, hasn't it? That, you know, we had Bayley versus Sasha main event Brooklyn, and everyone was like jumping for joy over it. So
the women would probably view it as a demotion anyway, wouldn't they? Here you are on network.
I think that's half right. Yeah, I think that would be a stumbling block. I think the women would think that. Although,
you reckon?
Yeah.
You're being given an entire show dedicated to wrestling, you know.
I think and they don't even get to go on WrestleMania.
If they're being taken off mainstream TV, and I would say that it is I don't think they'd be happy with that. I wouldn't have thought.
It's an interesting point. It's definitely an interesting thing, and who knows where we could be in the next 5 years, you know, with Sasha and Charlotte and Bayley all saying they want to main event WrestleMania. So
that'd be sweet.
I think with the talent we've got, it's going to be now more likely than ever, you know, that we'll get a women's main event, not just a pay-per-view, but at WrestleMania at some point in the future. So it's
as long as it's deserved and not just shoehorned in, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. And they actually capture it rather than the roller coaster ride we've had for the past year. But moving on to the real final point of Raw this week is the WWE title picture. Moving swiftly ahead with the triple threat still taking place. Seth Rollins doing his little Rollins report video for this week, and I've not been on the podcast kind of for a lot of the build to this, so I'm not been able to say what I think about it. But to me, it feels like they're setting up Roman for the, like, he got booed before he left, but the way they're building him up as like almost as if he's the victim in this. They're setting him up for the biggest amount of heat and boos he's going to achieve when he comes back at Battleground in the main event. What do you guys think about this? Like, keeping.
Do you think Roman Reigns agreed to all of this, or do you think that this is like his punishment, just to be completely destroyed in these things by Seth?
I think it's a clever way of keeping him on the product without him being on the product.
I think it's been really well done. I've got to say, I mean that Rollins report was fantastic.
I loved it how he was in a different outfit every shot.
Yeah, I must admit, I think it's been good. I think it's brought another little side out of Seth as well, and I think you're right. They've kept it on there. I just wonder how much I found it interesting to see how much of how much Roman Reigns agreed with that, or he was told this is how you're going to be this is how you're going to be portrayed, and you're going to have to take it because of what you've done.
You said it, Brent. It's brought another side out of Rollins. I just want to say how much I have enjoyed Rollins and Ambrose's mic work in the last 2 shows. I think they've been on fire. Like, it's hard to keep a triple threat match interesting when you've only got 2 of the parties there. And I think these 2 have done wonders to keep it interesting.
Absolutely.
Rollins has been on fire. Like, just throwing it out there non-stop. And that package was delightful. I'd like to think he put it together himself. No, obviously he hasn't really, but in my head, I just love to think that he has.
Chelsea, you've been awfully quiet on this WWE title build-up. What are your thoughts? You like Dean Ambrose as champion, and are you excited for the triple threat match?
There you go.
Nope.
She couldn't give a shit.
For the audience out there, she muted her microphone. Interesting.
We have Baron Corbin driving past my motorbike outside, and
Baron Corbin, motherfucker.
I absolutely love Dean Ambrose as champ. To be fair, that segment between him and Rollins this week was pure brilliance. As for the match, I'd rather Roman Reigns wasn't in it, but doesn't everybody?
Why though? I mean, I'm totally not bothered about him being in it. This is the perfect amount of Roman Reigns. He's going to be in the match and doing his thing, which is enjoyable to watch, and we don't have to listen to him speak. Everyone gets what they want.
I don't know. I just don't know whether Dean Ambrose is. I don't think Dean Ambrose is still going to be champ when he, like, after the match, and half of me is thinking that no matter, even with what's gone on, there's still a possibility that it could be Roman Reigns that takes the belt back, and I would hate that.
There's no way they drop that, surely.
If it's going anywhere, it's going to Rollins.
Yeah, I would love to have Rollins take the belt back, but there is still that little bit of you. I mean, how many times has Roman had the belt now? 2, 3?
3.
Yeah, 3. So he'd be a 4-time champ with it less than a year, and that's just horrible.
They need to slow this title changing down, otherwise the 16-time world champion Ric Flair is going to look very paltry.
That's what they're doing. That's the plan. Roman Reigns and John Cena are going to fight for it.
He's going to win it.
Cena's going to win a while, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be the headline of WrestleMania 33: Roman Reigns versus John Cena for the 16th championship.
Now we're talking about Ambrose possibly losing the belt coming at the pay-per-view. He's got a title match next week on Raw.
He has indeed announced for next Raw before the draft takes place: Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose for the WWE title.
Is he going to lose it on Raw? Can Ambrose
something must
return
happen
to that Raw? Is he legit able to come back by then, or is he still
Reigns.
back? Yeah,
Reigns.
Yeah.
No, he misses the draft. He's free. I think it's the 19th. His suspension ends, and then it's Battleground on the 20th, 21st. I want to say. The 23rd. So yeah, I think he comes back on like the 20th, 21st, and then Battleground on the 23rd and the 24th. So.
Surely there's no way there's an actual it must end in a no contest, that match next week.
Well, a lot of the other matches have done. If we go back to their feud, when it was Seth with the briefcase.
I'm thinking, what better way to get numbers for SmackDown Live than having the championship change the night before?
That's a very good point.
It's all about the numbers, man. Doesn't make sense for the story at all, I guess. But it's all about those numbers on that live show. They're pimping it out big time, and what better way to do it? If they could, they would have The Rock come back and win that title, just so that the SmackDown would get numbers.
I suppose there is an element of what we've spoken about for probably the last month or so. There's a little element of truth in what you're saying there, in the fact that there isn't really any much point predicting, how things are going to go after like Battleground and stuff, and it's very possible that they want to put the strap back on Rollins before it all starts, because I mean, Battleground at the end of the day that's basically the closing off, isn't it? That's just the end of this, of how it is, So I think if they did change it, it would lead into new stories for everybody after Battleground, rather than.
It is weird how they're doing the draft the week before Battleground and not the week after Battleground.
I think Michael pretty much got that spot on I think it was last week, or it might have even been the week before, where it was like basically, because I was of that same opinion, Ollie, that it's weird that the draft and then they're all going to have to fight each other. But as Michael sort of rightly put forward, is that the draft will happen and people know where they are, and then the pay-per-view can be used as that basically that close off of all those stories, and that kind of cuts it there. Whereas if things happened at Battleground and then they get drafted to various places, it kind of chucks the stories are completely out of it. Whereas I think this way they do the draft and then Battleground closes off, the history of pre-draft, and then we're on to a new era, so to speak.
A new era with apparently new sets, if we listen to Shane correctly. Although SmackDown has had a new logo already, which is nice.
Has it?
Yeah, SmackDown's got itself a new logo. Looks awfully similar to TNA Impact's logo. But,
Can we get the return of the fist?
Sure, I've seen that.
Oh man, Stephen.
So he was talking about squirts in blue balls earlier. So.
Return of the fist. You know what I mean.
Oh, no,
I'm bored of these flat Titantron displays that we're getting. Bring back that big old unnecessary fist that stuck out of a wall. Because Shane O'Mac could definitely climb up and jump off, I think.
I just get to see different people fucking use sets again. Like, I missed the Backlash fucking pincers.
Oh, those Backlash things from Backlash 2000 were amazing.
Like all the intricate sets they used to have, and now it's like, oh, it's TLC, so we'll have the usual set we have, plus a fuck ton of chairs or ladders and stuff, not around the ring. It's
just money, isn't it? Production costs, that's all it is.
I guess it does cut them down, but but we'll see. We'll see. Next week it will be the start of a brand new era, which will be and hopefully not just hyperbole this time.
Who has the number one draft pick?
No one knows. But now you've brought that up, we were saying on our last week's show that we would talk about the predictions for the picks and who our first five would be, and I was like, I really don't think that Ambrose is going to get selected first, but it's weird that the championship's not going to be drafted first, because the championship's worth more than the competitors, right?
Yeah.
But this totally fixes that problem. If Ambrose was to lose and Rollins was to win, I can definitely see Rollins being picked first, and if he has the belt as well, that just cinches the deal,
Well, if we are going down the route of you getting Steph as as commissioner,
she's not picking
Tripp as the GM, then Seth's the man there. If he's got the title as well, you've basically got what they've got the gang back together, haven't they?
Or you could just have
butts in seats.
Or you can have the antagonistic relationship of Shane and Seth on the other show, and you could have as close to Vince versus Stone Cold as possible, I guess.
They've still not said how they're going to do it, have they? There's still not something about the titles or the referees.
Nope, nothing at all.
That's it. Like we still don't know whether it's a draft or just like it just rolls and comes off the screen like it did before.
Well, we've got 4 hours of the bloody thing next week, so if those who don't know, I was announced today that we're having a SmackDown pre-show on the network. There's a post-show, a post-analysis, and on the network itself, for the 2 hours that SmackDown Live will be airing, there is a second screen WWE Draft Live special taking place, offering an alternative view of the draft. So I assume maybe more if they do the War Room type shtick with the
Yeah, it's just going to be a backstage camera, basically.
Yeah, and people's thoughts and whatnot throughout the draft and reactions. So, which I think is interesting. It's because I enjoyed when they used to do the Raw second screen where you could actually watch the matches that when they cut to break you could actually continue watching it. So it's a interesting thing they're doing with the network. So it'll be interesting. I'll probably have it on my laptop as we watch the show live, which we will be doing. We are watching the show live next week for those of us who can stay up.
All of us, we're all staying up. It's going to be a live show that we do next week. It's going to go up totally unedited, and it's going to be 3 o'clock in the morning.
Do you just want to do a hangout for the entire show, and then
Yeah,
actual live reactions to it.
yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. We're just going to put the hangout on. We're going to watch it together, react together, and probably cry together by the time it's finished.
Oh, the joys of being a UK wrestling fan.
Yeah, with work in 4 hours' time.
Thank God I booked that day off today.
Well, thank God it's my last week at school. Whoop, whoop.
Son of a bitch. Right. Moving on from, well, something that didn't take place on Raw. Brock Lesnar at the weekend happened to win his UFC 200 match against Mark Hunt. However, for some bizarre reason, WWE decided, you know what, we don't want Brock Lesnar on the show. Surely there'd be some form of follow-up other than just what they showed us. Like, I don't know, you'd think you may have won on the weekend, but you've got to be in a Monday night for Raw. Or...
No, they've got themselves enough publicity out of it. They've got what they wanted.
I don't know. I thought it'd be the opportunity in time to have him come out, especially now they announced Randy Orton the week before.
Oh, I 100% thought we would have a Paul Heyman showing. I never imagined that we'd get Brock himself, but I thought for definite we would have Heyman coming up to hype SummerSlam.
I guess it's just how, you know, Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants, so Brock Lesnar says he's not going to come on Monday night on Raw. Do you think Brock fights again, though? I think that's what a lot of people are asking right now. Is this Brock's one and done with his UFC, or can you see him?
Didn't sound like it, did it?
No.
Didn't sound like it. Sounds like he's had a jolly good time building himself into that condition for UFC.
Oh, he looked good.
He looked fantastic, and he certainly, although he certainly. I mean, the fight itself was nothing to shout home about. It was very one-sided and quite tedious, to be fair, considering kind of all Brock really wants to do is get them on the mat and wrestle, which I suppose if that's your forte, that's what you're going to do.
Imagine that from an amateur wrestler.
Yeah, imagine that. I think he definitely had. He looked to have a glint in his eye that he enjoyed it, that he wanted to carry on doing it. It won't surprise me if it turns out to it for him going back there.
But he was asked this in a post-fight, post-show interview, and he was asked what's in the future for him, and whether or not this was just set up for promotion. He was like, Brock Lesnar does what he wants, but my path is laid before me, or something like that. And
yeah.
Next up is SummerSlam, and I've got Randy Orton. So he went straight back on brand and straight to to WWE. So who knows? I don't imagine that's his final fight though, because this is the first time he's been fighting in the UFC without some sort of symptom from diverticulitis. So if this is the first time he's ever been fresh and he liked it, then why would he not stay? Plus, he made $2.5 million on that night. So.
Oh, he was huge for them. Considering the fact that he's he was brought in because Conor McGregor ended up not fighting, and it was kind of, what do we need to do? I was not expecting what they were saying, what happened with regards to numbers and stuff. I didn't realise how much of a draw he was in the UFC, to be honest. Like, I didn't realise.
Did the pay-per-view do big sales, did it?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I can't remember the numbers, to be honest.
Are you sure that wasn't the...
It wasn't the sale of it, no.
No, how many of these were people buying for John Bones Jones and not cancelling it after the show was changed at the last minute?
Well, yeah, no, I don't think it was, because I think that was even that was, sort of the second event, wasn't it, behind what was going to be McGregor, and
John Bones Jones was a replacement for a McGregor fight.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether that might have been, they might have ended up, those were where the numbers came from. Sorry, yeah. I was just going to go on to what you said, Mick. There, I heard an interview or read something about Brock Lesnar before the UFC where he was saying that the whole time he was in the UFC, he was fighting something else other than people that was in the ring. He was never 100% all the way through it, and he felt like when he said that he was retired from the UFC, he felt that it wasn't it was a decision not made by him. It was like it was made by how his body was and how other people, what other people thought and stuff, and it was never something he believed in. And you could tell without being, he said that this was the first time that he was completely 100% going into a fight and where he could train at 100%, and you could tell that when like you say, when he weighed in, and there's no way that that's his last fight, not a chance.
I just want to know when his WWE contract's up, because I'd be surprised if he
2018.
signed it.
It's a long one, isn't it?
2018.
18?
Yeah, because he only signed it just after. He didn't sign it not that long ago.
2018 it ends. WrestleMania in 2018.
I don't think he signs again.
He doesn't see that through, I don't think.
It'll be interesting, and maybe he does one-off bouts here and there. I mean, Lashley wrestles, wrestles and does Bellator with his TNA contract. So who knows? He might be getting something similar with Brock Lesnar in the WWE and the UFC, which is an interesting prospect. And I can imagine we might see.
Let's be honest. If they can do it in a way, because never have we ever seen cross promotion of these two brands in the history of the brands like we are now. So if they can find a way to please both parties, it's going to happen because it means money.
There's a lot
UFC just changed owners as well, didn't it? So who knows? Maybe they might be more.
They did. Unless these owners have got very different views, there's a lot of people in the higher circles that are quite opposed to this, how close the WWE and the UFC are at the moment, in terms of this Lesnar deal. And a lot of people think that it grays the area between the two, between fighting and sports entertainment, and whether somebody can sell a package. But then, like you guys say, if it's making the money, if those pay-per-view numbers are up and it's solely because of that, then they're not going to stop it, are they?
No, Lesnar's historically, Lesnar has been UFC's the biggest buy rate. So with Lesnar on the card, there's not many which sell large that don't have Lesnar on the card in UFC. So.
I was. If we can might as well take it back to the wrestling. I was more I know, crazy.
Yeah.
I was more disappointed with how they've basically announced the SummerSlam thing. Just on a whim. Basically, it felt through the week last week. Kind of just to get on the back of the big fight at the weekend. I was kind of expecting.
Brave of them as well for announcing it a week before he had the match.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario happened and he did get it concussed.
We could have. Why not have Brock coming out on Monday Night Raw and then Randy Orton coming out? Find a way to do it that way rather than how it's been done. Because I thought it'd been quite.
There was two ways this was going to happen. Either A, the way it happened, obviously, or B, that he could have just kept it completely secret until that post-match fight, because I don't think there was ever a doubt that he was going to win this match, ever. Not in a million years. And he could have said, when asked about what's next on the horizon, he could have just said, I will tell you what's next for me on SmackDown Live on Tuesday, whatever the date will be. That's the only other way it could have gone, because it needed, somehow, WWE needed promotion out of this, other than being called WWE's Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
SummerSlam needs buyers. Money matters.
Oh.
Chelsea's back.
Hey. And on that, I think we can move on to the Cruiserweight Classic that, as record, starts tonight. So we're recording this on Wednesday, and tonight we have in store Finn Balor versus Nakamura on NXT.
Woo-hoo.
And then following that, we have the first episode of the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. let's jump into the CWC first before we kind of briefly talk about our excitement for Nakamura and Finn Balor yet again. How excited are you for the CWC? I mean, we've all seen the cards. I think we all saw bracketology and seen how it's all going to be lining up. Are there any matches in there that are particularly taking your fancy, or what do you want to see from this? What do you want to get out of the CWC? Mike, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. Personally, for me, I'm just wanting to see talent that I've not seen before, and be impressed enough by it myself, and hopefully impress people at WWE enough to sign them up. Because a lot of these people's names I have seen and I've heard of, and What Culture Pro Wrestling's even used some of these guys lately, but there's half of them that I just don't know, like the two Canadian Indian brothers. Never heard of those guys. Yeah, the Bollywood boys, those guys, never heard of them. Looking forward to them. But also on the opposing side of things, I'm really looking to see how people like the Brian Kendricks, thank you. I was like, he's not called Jimi Hendrix. That's not his name. The Jimi Hendrix is going to wrestle today. No, Spanky. I'm really looking forward to seeing Spanky back in WWE ring. And Tajiri, I don't think he's going to be spraying green mist anymore, but he's 45 years old, it turns out. And it's just like, why is he in this?
And a rumour has it he's signed onto a 2-year WWE contract as well.
As a trainer, I would hope and imagine.
I'd assume so, or helping out.
A Rhino-esque contract.
Yeah. And speaking of Rhino, he returned last week, funnily enough.
Yeah, he did, which was completely weird, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. But that's beside the point. CWC, I just want to see these new talents that I have not been exposed to. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Don't really understand how it's all going to work. A predetermined event in a bracket. I just don't get it.
It's like the King of the Ring. It's the King of the Ring, just for cruiserweights.
Sure, but these guys are playing for something. You know, if you're out the first round, I mean that's your career in WWE over for now.
Well, I thought it was interesting as well. Like, they are rigidly sticking to the £205 limit. So
yeah, they are, aren't they? Yeah.
They already kicked one guy out of the tournament and didn't make weight in the Facebook videos that we saw before as part of the bracketology. And I've also announced today, I think it was, that they have 5 other guys in reserves in case guys don't make weight. And every taping and every week, if they do this tour, weight before the match starts, which I find fascinating. Like, they're rigidly sticking to it must be £205. So the guys on reserve, I think they mentioned Jesse Swanson, who's been in NXT here and there, and was in former TNA. So as a backup, I just love how kind of serious the WWE are taking this. Chelsea, have you seen the brackets now?
Yeah, I have.
Want to pick out some of your favourite looking matches from this?
Favourite looking match?
I want to see Ibushi as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to obviously seeing the Brits. Zack Sabre Jr. I can't wait to see. Noam Dar too. Again,
Jack
Brian
Gallagher.
Kendrick.
I want to see this Jack Gallagher kid. I haven't seen him at all.
Yeah, he's a wrestler favourite. He's got something about him.
Do you mean he looks like he could be part of the Whirling Dervish?
The Vaudevillains.
Yeah.
That'd be a great way to bring him into the NXT WWE proper.
Sorry, Chelsea. Chelsea's trying to talk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think the only first match that I'm really interested in is Gargano versus Ciampa. I'm really looking forward to seeing what goes on between those two and who goes forward. But I think it's mainly just individuals I'm looking forward to at the minute. But Zack Sabre Jr. has my vote from the get-go, I think.
No, there's definitely, looking through it, kind of how they've done it. I think there's a few interesting potential quarterfinal matches, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like, you could get Zack Sabre Jr. versus Noam Dar in the quarterfinals, We could have Akira Tozawa versus Tajiri in the quarterfinals, D. Brian Kendrick versus Ibushi, and Gargano versus Rich Swann as an NXT one, or Gargano and Ciampa versus Rich Swann as an NXT one in the quarterfinals. So I think they've really set it up for a very great end game tournament. It's I'm just so excited to see what happens and just how I want it to deliver, to be like, yes, cruiserweights are a thing.
Coming from Mr. I don't want the cruiserweights.
I did not have faith that we would do cruiserweights correctly, but having seen this, I take back everything that I said.
Wow. I was wrong.
Stevie,
But I think...
Oh, no, Chelsea, go on.
No, I was just going to say that this has the potential to be one of the best things that's come out of WWE in such a long time.
And the way they're talking about it is like it potentially could be a yearly thing, is the hope, I guess.
Also,
oh, really?
More Maranello, the better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Like, him and Daniel Bryan and Corey Graves taking the leads of things like...
I really like Corey Graves, man.
Corey Graves is... Yeah, we were just talking about this before we went on air, and Corey Graves has a whole lot of love.
Well, I think the line for the bracketology was when he was talking about Gargano versus Ciampa, and he goes, "For me personally, I hope they both lose."
Yeah.
Thank you, Corey. Stevie, what are your thoughts on the CWC?
I think the guys have pretty much summed it up. To be honest, I think I'm really looking forward to seeing some more Brits, competing and getting their chance over there. And like Michael said, seeing some of these guys that I haven't seen and seeing what they can do and whether they're going to have whether they're going to put on enough of a show to get contracts to get themselves into NXT. I think that's probably the main thing that I'm looking forward to. It's nice to see something fresh that a new idea to a lot of people. Like you say, Michael said it's interesting how they're going to do it with something that's predetermined, but I suppose it's no different to like the King of the Ring, like you said, Alan. I think it's another show on the network. They're definitely doing the right things at the moment, and this can only be a good thing.
Do you think that Vince McMahon sat there just thinking, all these great ideas, none of them are mine?
A part of me likes to think he doesn't know this exists.
It's just a secret.
It just comes up on the bank balance as Triple H fund. Triple H is doing whatever he wants with this money. I don't actually know what's happening.
Trips put a parental advisory on Vince's, and it just shows former episodes of Raw and WWE camp, and he just chuckles to himself, Vince, thinking, "This is my product." Meanwhile, Trips just like taking over the entire organisation. I think he'll have. I'd like to hope that Vince is, starting to come around and starting to realise a few things, with regards to how things are, how things are done these days, how the internet works, and how you can get a product like NXT out there, and how these more undersized wrestlers can carry a show and can be the main event. And he's too clever not to know, isn't he? Let's be right.
Well, he knows about Pokemon Go according to his Twitter. He found it in his gym apparently today. Also, as well,
he found a what?
Found a Ghastly in his gym.
I don't believe this for a second.
It's absolutely true, yeah.
No, I don't believe that Vince McMahon is playing Pokemon Go. I mean, this would be absolutely my dream come true if he was.
What I do like, though, is apparently the WWE headquarters is a Pokemon gym. So
it is.
You can go to the WWE headquarters, and I'd love to know which one of those guys in there actually does play it, and who is the.
The guy who's in Up Up Down Down's got it, hasn't he? Murph.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He owns it.
I'd like to secretly hope it's Vince McMahon. Although half of me thinks he just lob his iPhone at the floor, thinking that's how it works. But
Vince McMahon will have the strongest Pokemon there is because they'll just buy Poke Coins and upgrade his people.
Or it being Vince McMahon, he just makes the wrestlers he doesn't use and we don't see on TV dress up as the Pokemon, and he actually tries to catch them.
But did you? You say that, and that's proper weird. But did you see that video of Ronda Rousey putting on a Pikachu costume?
It
No.
sounds like it could go into YouPorn. What?
No, it's absolutely true. Ronda Rousey she was there looking broody into a camera, and then she just pops on a Pikachu a Pikachu costume. Weird, totally crazy. Pokemon Go, man, it's touching everywhere.
And apparently it's just because I've reading about this before. Apparently the NSPCC is scared that
Oh, this is bullshit, man.
they want Pokemon Go delayed because a sex shop is a gym. Kids are standing outside the sex shops trying to battle at gyms. Yeah, Pokemon Go aside, if you had to pick, say, the final four of the tournament right now, who would you kind of have looking at the brackets that we've got?
Ash Ketchum, Giovanni, Gary, and I'm going to put it out there.
Rock's got to be in there. You can't not have Rock.
I was going to put it out there and say Sabrina, because her psychic Pokemon are the bomb.
Oh, we really have derailed this now, haven't we?
What? We're not talking about Pokemon. Oh, the CWC, right? Okay. I'm going to go with. See, do you think they showed their hand on the bracketology about the people who they highlighted? They're the ones that are going to go further, right? That's what happens. That's what it says in my head. So I think Jack Gallagher's going to go. Zack Sabre Jr. is going to get there.
So an all-British semi-final then, or quarter-final as it were, on the left-hand side.
Sure. Ibushi's going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess on the bottom right half, who could go there? Who was highlighted?
Or Ciampa?
No, I think it's
Rich
two.
Swann? Or
No, I don't think
any.
it can't be any of the NXT guys. Or maybe it can. Maybe that makes sense to have one of the NXT guys to show that it is a product to. I don't know. That bottom right hand corner, I don't really know what's going to happen there, but I'm going to go Jack Gallagher, Zack Sabre Jr., Kota Ibushi, and I'm just going to pick randomly, and I'm going to go with T.J. Perkins. There you go.
It's quite similar to what mine is, two of the four at least. Mine would be Akira Tozawa versus Zack Sabre Jr. And then it would be Ibushi versus Gargano. I think when potentially with the Sabre Jr. versus Ibushi final, it's probably, if you're looking at the two biggest names of it, that's probably how I think it's going to go. Chelsea?
Yeah, I'm going to go Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr., Rich Swann I'd like to see.
Is he the one who was against Finn Balor the other week and he was dancing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah, Ibushi, Rich Swann, Zack Sabre Jr. and Jack Gallagher. There you go.
Stevie?
Yeah, what you guys said. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. As long as it's fun, as long as it's good, I mean.
Joe Hendry.
And also, there's no one think that the Rock's cousin's going to do it in this one, because there's another Rock's cousin in this tournament.
They're all Rock's cousin.
I didn't realise Nia Jax was a cruiserweight.
Below the belt. or above it.
Oh, Nia.
Well, speaking of NXT, Finn Balor versus Nakamura tonight. How excited are we all?
I didn't know it was on. Who? Oh. I've been trying to weigh up in my mind how. What's the best way? Is this going to be better, worse, or on par with the Takeover Dallas match with Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn? And I can't resolve it. I don't know where it's going to lie.
I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be better.
It
I
has to be
think,
something very special to be better.
yeah, I think that how great Sami Zayn Nakamura was, I don't think we're going to get anything like that for a long time, even if it is something as.
Sorry, go on, finish your point.
I can't remember now.
Sorry, but I'm just going to say this is the exclamation point, the full stop on Finn Balor's NXT career, right?
100%, yeah.
Right? Everyone agreed?
Yeah.
I think Nakamura winning this.
Yeah,
Sure, that's
very much.
fine. That's fine, and that works. But Finn's not back in NXT again.
No,
I wouldn't 100% it, but I'd find it it'd be more surprising if he was back in NXT than if he wasn't.
Yeah.
It just all just lines up too perfectly with this episode being now and then the draft. It's not a coincidence.
No, this is very much going to be Finn Balor's last NXT match, I think.
Is that the thing going to be now, that your final match is now Nakamura, like the big guy go through Nakamura to get out of NXT?
Nakamura's going to have a character later on. He's going to be the icon killer, and he's he's taking out all these big names. Then he comes up to WWE roster and takes out Randy Orton in what would be Icon Killer versus Legend Killer, and they can who wins. Does he beat an icon? Is Randy Orton an icon? No, he's not an icon, is he?
No.
Yeah. But he is at 99%. So. I really wish he did updates like that now. That would be so good. Just one
day.
Just come up and give him a Randy Orton update.
That's going back a long time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we all predicting Nakamura winning then?
Yeah.
It's going to be one hell of a match, and whilst as I can agree with Chelsea, it's not going to be as good as Sami Zayn, because I think that one truly was something special. Like if that's a 5, I think this is going to be like a 4.75. You know, I think it's it's definitely going to be.
Man, that match was so good. I need to go back and watch it again. It's been a while. That match was so good.
We watched it the weekend, and it still gives me goosebumps. His entrance is still like.
Do you know what the best thing is? We've seen an entrance from Nakamura.
We have. Anyway, moving on to our last topic of tonight. WWE 2K17 with the Brock Lesnar as our cover star, Goldberg as our pre-order star. We thought, why not discuss what do we want from 2K17, who do we want in it, and what improvements can we made over 2K16. Mike, why don't you start us off kind of playing from 2K16? What do you want to see from 2K17?
Now, let me just put it out there that 2K16 was one of the best wrestling games that I've played. It does have a few control issues, let's say, but it was fantastic. Like 8s, 9s, easy. But there's one thing that's really got me with the games, and it's not one of the in-game systems. It's not one of the mods that they have. It's not the Create a Wrestler. It's their online. They need to sort out their online, because you cannot play a game of this online. There's just no point. I watched a stream of Chelsea and Russ have 3 matches. Chelsea did not even grapple once. She punched her way through the entire thing. Because I don't want to blame that on the system. Actually, that's probably just Chelsea. But it's the lag on it is so poor that you can't even time your reversals or anything. So the number one thing that needs to be improved, just so me and Stephen can fight each other in some Money in the Bank ladder matches and come out with our bodies entirely red and beat up. It needs to sort out its online systems, because if GTA can play with all of that information that needs to be transferred onto GTA Online without any problems, a one-on-one match between me and Stephen should be able to run smoothly. So that's my first one. online stability.
Chelsea?
That was pretty boring, wasn't it, really? But,
Chelsea,
but online stability.
would you agree with that, or would was something else you'd rather see than online stability?
You can't disagree with the fact that the online needs a massive overhaul, because it is literally impossible to get through one match without being completely and utterly frustrated to the point where you're just going to quit. I like Michael says, like 2K16 was a really, really good game. I might be reaching for the sun, moon, and stars here, but one day I just want to be able to be a woman, start and just have
Chelsea,
have the option.
if you keep growing, one day you will be.
But I'd really like to have a female story mode, but that's it's never going to happen. But the one thing that I am really disappointed about is, I don't know for how long we have to sit through like Stone Cold's 2K16 advert while watching Raw, but I've been waiting for the 2K17 advert to come on, because with the 2K16 one, literally every time that it comes on, I just put on a Texas accent and just say along with it every single time it comes on.
It is 2K17 now.
Yeah, I know, but I was really, really hoping that Brock Lesnar would do the voiceover for it.
I see where this is going.
Yeah, but so I was most disheartened when we didn't get his like little girl voice doing the voiceover for it. I don't like that.
Just wait until there's in-ring gameplay. You might get it.
Maybe. I just find it hilarious every time Brock Lesnar opens his mouth still, and if I'd have got to hear that, if I'd have got that every 8 minutes while trying to watch Raw, it makes it a bit more.
I can't wait to cut down what you just said and send it to Brock Lesnar and saying Chelsea's calling Brock Lesnar having a little girl voice.
He does though. There is no other way to describe it than a little girl voice.
I'm gonna say, if we ever get to interview Brock Lesnar, then Chelsea's doing the interview, and we can complete this segment for him. She does the interview for him.
I'd get F5 by Brock Lesnar. I might die, but what a great way to die.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's leapt at Brock Lesnar trying to hug him and hope for the best. So
Oh, I definitely wouldn't leap to hug him. That's just suicide.
Oh man, he is a big guy. Just in that UFC match against Mark Hunt, man, he's so much bigger than him. He's just a beast of a man. I just don't think it comes across how much of a beast he is. Hello? Hello?
I was just waiting for your little love of Brock Lesnar just to die down a bit.
Oh, you sure,
just let that sink in. Just let that sink in there.
Just go look at the weigh-in and just see how much taller and bigger of a man that he is compared to someone another UFC fighter, a top 10 ranked UFC fighter as well. Anyway, Stephen, what do you want to see improved, introduced, new features, 2K17?
I would like, first of all, I would like a function to buy things on there. Now, I don't mean with like proper money, but you know, like how on FIFA and the EA games, you've got the in-game currency that you kind of get for achievements, things like that. 2K, NBA 2K16, for example, has the same, the VC. I would love to see the WWE get that, the 2K17 version, where we can, we're able to buy things like, for example, a good example, Seth Rollins' White Ranger outfit, alternate outfits, things like that.
Rather than just unlocking them for hitting some sort of
arbitrary task.
objective in Stone Cold mode, you'd want to get VC and then choose what to buy.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go with that. Although I must admit, I did like the fact that you were able to go through the achievement list and see what you needed to do, and you could do those as you were going along. You knew you had to get to 50 matches, for example, to unlock this and unlock that. But I really like the virtual currency thing. I think it works really well. That's just coming from someone who kind of plays those modes on NBA 2K16, for example. So I'd like to see something like that. The showcase, I'd love to see a variety. I thought the Austin one was fantastic. Now I don't know how much something like that's going to cost them to be able to do a showcase for, say, five wrestlers. But I would love to have an Undertaker showcase.
Yeah, I mean, you could just do that just with these WrestleMania matches.
Yeah, I thought the Austin showcase was fantastic. I'd love to have that for a whole bunch of them if possible. And the other one, which is really, really, probably sounds really trivial, but I bet nearly everybody agrees with, is that I'd like the belt to look decent when it goes on you.
on your creative star.
Yeah, like when you win the belt.
100%.
Like
It's
I don't
so
want it over the top of my leather jacket. Like it should sit underneath.
Absolutely, 100%. My
You
character,
should've just-
Monster Nick, is 6'7". He's about 300 quid, £300, and he's a brick shit house, and he does all these somersault moves. He comes out in a trench coat, and when he wins the title, he puts the belt around his trench coat like he's some sort of moron. Just have it underneath. Or give me the option to put it over his shoulder. He don't need to come with it around his waist.
And the shitty championship entrances they do as well. Like you spend half an hour trying to create a perfect entrance, then it comes to, and now you've won the title, you have a designated entrance. It's like, no, let's go back to the flashy title. Yeah. I can agree with you, the entrances in general need a bit of an overhaul because it's the same thing we've had for fucking years.
There's one thing I never do. I mean, I make the same character every single year, so I've got faster at doing it. But I've never gone in to make a full entrance because I'd get lost. I really would. I'd just be there forever, just timing everything perfectly. There was a time when Kurt Angle was in it, so it's a few years back now, but there was a time where you could just set the music and you could set pyro off at certain times, and it just makes me smile so much when it gets to a crescendo in a piece of music, and then you just hit the fireworks, and then your character starts moving, and it's like, it just all fits together. And I'm just not going to sit there and do it for every single part, because there's the entrance, there's the stage, there's the ramp, there's the ring, there's in the ring. I'd be there forever. I'm not doing it. And it'd be the most expensive entrance in the world because every part would have fireworks.
Download your own music as well.
Oh.
For ring entrances. But that's just a blast from mine and Michael's past, so...
I believe miracles. Yeah. I always come out to the musicist era.
I don't think there's... I think it's only... Like Michael said, the game itself, the last one was... pretty much spot on, apart from, your odd little bits. I don't think there's that much to do with it to make it, even better. But I think that goes to show how good the 2K16 team are, because that runs right across all their products, doesn't it? That, they are, when it comes to, the gameplay and things like that, they're kind of out of this world, and it's just the smaller things really that that you want to see to make them that slightly bit better.
I am compiling a list for a written piece onto our Out of Lives website, just like my Madden 10 things to improve Madden, and I've got a couple more that I think would improve 2K17. The first one is a trivial thing, and it's a create a superstar, but EA does this very, very well. I just want to be able to import a face without me looking like a monster. I'd like to import Steven's face, and I'd like to make my character punch him and make his nose bleed. Is that too much to ask? I'm not going to do it in real life, so let me be able to do it in the game. So that's one thing, because that I don't know if you tried it, Steve or Chelsea or Ollie, on your game, importing a face into those games.
Yeah. I don't even.
Looking like the Phantom of the Opera, you know.
I think on the wrestling one, I don't even think I got past the stage of actually getting the face accepted, which was a little worrying.
And my final one. There's many things that I want to bring back from previous games, whether it be types of matches such as Buried Alive match, which again it can be just it's just a quick time events. But the one I want is area transitions. You know, I want to be able to go backstage. I want to go into the crowd. I want to go into the parking lot. I want to go into the interview area. I want to be able to go into the offices or to the locker room. There's no point having falls count anywhere matches and only be able to do it on the ramp and on the ringside, because you can't even go up to the stage. You can't even smash the face into the board. I'm very violent. I want to smash a lot of people's faces, which is worrying. But yeah, area transitions. That's what I'd like.
I think for me, it's just an expansion, I think, of the kind of career mode that we got. I think a lot of the kind of rivalries that you got yourself into and kind of the storyline type-esque little things they put in there got very repetitive, depending, as you went through the titles and whatnot. So I think definitely expanding on that and making, giving us the chance to give us a voice to choose from rather than the default voice, which really did not fit the guy I built at all. Also, as well, can we? I know that a lot of their focus goes into capturing the superstars, but you might want to take a look at Renee Young again, because I don't think that's what Renee Young looks like.
Poor Renee.
Jesus, looks like a fucking shark fucked her.
What?
Just go back and look at her jawline again. It's fucking scary. So yeah, just a little
more. Shark. I know a lot of people call it a Skeletor. I didn't think it was that bad.
I think she could use a little bit of love, and I don't know, just expanding on that in general, and a lot of the kind of pleasing the authority thing got very kind of fucking bollocks at one point. Like, they'd ask you to do 3 barricade finishes or something like that. Oh, yes, you do 3 on the ability 4. Why? So just, dumb shit like tweak it a bit and, I don't know, create more branching storylines so it's not so repetitive.
Oh, what about William Regal as a GM?
Oh.
Oh, that.
Jesus Christ! An hour later.
Sorry. I don't know where that's come from.
We're thinking back to the old SmackDown games where you'd interact backstage with William Regal as the commissioner.
Maybe, I don't know. Oh, anyway, go on, carry on.
And then for me as well, we kind of touched upon the creator modes, but bring back creator finisher is all. Like, just bring back creator finisher, because I kind of want my guy to have his own finisher and not use,
Did you not have that?
Not in the last one, I didn't know. The last one, Mick hadn't got it in it, so hopefully they bring that one back.
I'm sure it was, because you'd make it your own name, because I'm pretty sure my guy, or Michael Cole, would always shout, "The aneurysm! The aneurysm! The aneurysm!"
Jesus,
maybe that's from a few years back now, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what my...
it wasn't in the last one, unfortunately. Wasn't in the last one. But no, I think they're my main thing, because I absolutely love the career mode and just the basis of it that they've got there, and if they can bring in things they've done from like the NBA games, I think they could really do something special with the career mode.
Talking of modes and talking of GMs, GM mode coming back.
Oh, well done, Chels. Like
Fabian.
I think that is the first legitimate great segue that we've had on our show ever.
But thanks.
In what way is that different to the what mode is it called? Yeah, the universe mode. That's it. In what way is that different though?
I don't know really.
I think it's more like in the GM mode, it was you versus the computer trying to book the best shows, drafting,
Yeah,
contracts. It was more kind of football manager-esque.
I think it's
I
just
fucking love those games. Where universe mode is literally, you have everything, be the booker for it all.
yeah, it's just a little bit more realistic, isn't it? Like you were doing this, rather than it, yeah, just being all computerized. But
I think
I'm trying to think of the last game that had what game was it that had
SmackDown versus Raw versus ECW.
was it
Yeah.
was it SmackDown Raw 2008?
It was whichever SmackDown and Raw had ECW in it, I think. Because you had two with ECW as the GM, as you could be the general manager of ECW.
Oh, I think it was no, I think it was definitely in 2008 because I think that's where one I've played it. But I think it was in a couple of years before that. But
I think they took what the universe mode is, because then there you can get really in depth with the storylines you can create, and put that in the old GM mode game, so you can actually create storylines for your guys. A lot like anyone's ever played them, the Total Extreme Warfare games, the wrestling sim manager games, which I put too many hours into.
oh man, I tried that and I think I lasted about half an hour before I was just confused to fuck.
Yeah, it gets
And I didn't play it anymore.
very fucking in depth. But once you put in the WWE, like the real life mods, or there's one which was like the Attitude Era mod, or they had a draft mod.
Yeah.
So you got like the superstars of the 90s or the superstars of the 2000s, or the current as of. So and then it's again, I love my kind of football manager games, so I'd love to see something like that.
Yeah, GMO being brought back would for 2K17 would like fit in perfectly with like the draft too, because you could always like go and check your ratings, couldn't you, against like the other show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how good would it be if you could have 3-player GM mode where we all had to draft our own roster and we had to put it up against each other?
That would be awesome. I know. I think that you could do it multiplayer in one game, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Ah, that would be so cool. Like online, yeah.
Online multiplayer GM mode.
That would be insane.
Like if you did it like how they do universe mode, where you can create your own shows on different days and do it that way, and then import created superstars, and yeah, it would be that would really go off the deep end in terms of fantasy. What we want for 2K17.
Oh, but just GM mode. That's all I want.
Well, as fans of the 2K, well, just wrestling games in general, I think we should be allowed to completely reach for the stars and then just fall somewhere short of it.
Spectacularly. Yeah. And I think on that, I think we've kind of ran through everything tonight, so I think that'll do it for us. Chelsea, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Fight Chelsea Fight on Twitter.
Star-Lord, are you still as anonymous as ever?
Yeah, unreachable.
And Mike?
Yeah, you can find me at DjangoBob96 on Twitter, or just DjangoBob everywhere else.
Girl and me just go through the Out of Nowhere communication, so that's at Out of Nowhere Pod on Twitter, outofnowherepodcast@gmail.com is the email address. We have a YouTube page, is Out of Nowhere Podcast. We are all underneath the outoflies.net group, so go check out outoflies.net, weekly, regularly, daily updates in the world of TV, movies, and video gaming. And yeah, we also have a t-shirt store, which is at tpublic.com/user/outoflivespodcast.
I love that you continue to plug these t-shirts now, which none of us ever even know about.
I have a t-shirt on order, thank you very much. So I will have I have an Out of Nowhere t-shirt on its way, because I thought, fuck it, I want one. So yeah, I think that's everything. So yeah, next week you can catch us live at 1 o'clock in the morning over here if you're UK time. Jesus, 1 o'clock midnight. What time's the SmackDown airing next week?
Who knows? It's some stupid time in the morning. If it's the pre-show for an hour, we've got an hour pre-show.
So around about midnight, you'll be able to find us live on Google Hangouts on YouTube as we delve right into the whole draft spectacular and all go mad and drink and about 4 o'clock in the morning we're losing our fucking minds.
It's a shame you don't have 2K, Chelsea, because we could definitely just start our night with a stream of 2K16 at 12 o'clock up till 1 o'clock. Watch SmackDown.
And then podcast after. So yeah, next week, mass WWE Out of Nowhere Network podcast extravaganza as we cover the draft.
Tell you what, I'll be the GM and I will like do matches between you and sort it all out that way.
Oh,
Okay.
So until next week, people, we'll catch you again. Peace.
Hail Satan!
So much for a tight 60.
That was like
An hour and a half ish, maybe longer.
Totally could have just cut the 2K17 section.
It's there if you want to use it.
Oh well, never mind.